New character will end 6 and Mono's time loop cycle in Little Nightmares 3? Well, let's talk about it. What is up, SmackNPie here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, we are going to talk about Little Nightmares' whole time loop and ending it once and for all. So we learned after Little Nightmares 2 ending is that Mono is stuck in a time loop. He goes through all that hardship, pain, and suffering just to end up becoming the Thin Man, which suggests he was trying to stop his past self from making the same mistakes so that he don't end up becoming Thin Man. And this loop, this time loop, this cycle ends because this is torment for Thin Man. This is pain and agony as he just sits there after getting caught in Signal Tower until he becomes the Thin Man, and he's just sitting there waiting for his younger self to open that door as he uses Signal Tower to try and communicate with his past young self. So that is number one. Number two, we get to 6, the protagonist of first game and our AI buddy in the second game. We know that unlike Mono, 6 is in a different situation, but she is still in some sort of time loop. But her situation does not include time loop, it's basically cycle. She is destined to be at the mall. She's destined to end up facing the Lady Geisha. She's destined to become the next lady of the mall. Those pictures we've seen shows correlation between 6 and the lady. One thing is for certain, that there are cycles. 1, 2, 3 that happens over and over again, that repeats the same events over and over again. One of the big evidences to suggest for Little Nightmares 1 is Shadow 6. We've seen Shadow 6 appearing multiple times in the first game. Specifically, when 6 would get hungry, she would feel hunger inside of her, and then she would find something to eat, whether it be a literal food, or whether it be an alive animal, or just literal gnomes that she ate in the first game. In every corner, you can see a Shadow 6 standing there, observing, looking, while 6 consuming and feeding her hunger. Shadow 6 suggests that she's been here before. These events in both games, 1 and 2, happened before. They are just repeating over and over again. One of the biggest evidences in Little Nightmares 2 is when Mono for the first time meets 6 on the wall that she's being held at by the hunter. You can see some tally marks there that shows that she's been counting. These connect directly with very Little Nightmares that had this kind of imagery all over the nest, whether it be 6 or Raincoat Girl, or even other girls, other kids that were captured in the nest. You can see them in that place, suggesting that they've been here for a very long time. But if that's not all, ladies and gentlemen, Little Nightmares' official Twitter account has been posting these cryptic messages, but the one message, one response that really stood out to me, and one of the reasons why I'm making this video in the first place, happened when Samantha tweeted this at Little Nightmares. Getting excited for a Little Nightmares 2 DLC. Yay, very exciting. But they're all stuck in a time loop anyway, so it doesn't matter what happens. Guess what? Little Nightmares responding with, all of them? Question mark? This is not the first time they're doing this, but this is huge, ladies and gentlemen, because they actually been giving away some hints regarding the story and lore of Little Nightmares, as they responded to another question saying there's always a happy ending waiting for you in the transmission, or as responding to Sam, who said, what's the point, they're all dead, they responded with, are they? So they shared many of it, but these are some that really caught my attention, that shows that they planned this cycle for gameplay section. For lore wise, it makes sense. A lot of it makes sense when you put time loop and this endless cycle together. A lot of it makes sense, all the imagery on the wall. But at the same time, it seems like they've also planned a way out for this, as I showed the tweet before, that not all of them, suggesting that yes, Mono might be in a loop. 6 for a different situation. She's not technically in a time loop, but she's in a cycle. But that does not mean that every other character is in the same cycle. Every other character is having that same issues over and over again. In the original Little Nightmares comics, we know that there are multiple kids with powers who end up in the maw by this mystery man. He somehow finds all these kids who have powers, who have these supernatural powers. And I know what you're gonna say, Smack, if kids with powers can't break the cycle, can't break the loop, what makes you think ordinary kid with no powers can? Well, what they can do in the DLC, because as we know, that the Tarzu Studios are making the next-gen upgrade. They even said, responding to a fan yesterday, saying, coming out later this year, responding to an official PS5 version. Stay tuned. That means the Tarzu Studios is kind of sort of working on this. Even if they're not, the Nightmares team is working for a next-gen upgrade, and it shows that they do have plans for some sort of DLC, some sort of story-related, some sort of extra content with that next-gen upgrade. Can you imagine Tarzu Studios and Bandai Namco coming out and saying, boys, the final project that we're doing together is going to be this next-gen patch. You're going to get 60 frames per second, 4K, 1080 on your PS5, Xbox Series X. Thank you, Tarzu Studios. Goodbye. That is not gonna happen. They made all those locations, hospital, school, and they're just gonna dump them, not take advantage of it when they can clearly make some more bucks with the DLC. So what they can do in the DLC, and this would be a bit unusual for gaming culture, but since it would be Tarzu Studios' last project in Little Nightmares with Bandai Namco, they can wrap it all up. They can have a character ending the cycle once and for all. I can see it happening if they really convince Bandai Namco to go with their original vision, Tarzu's original vision. As for the other case, Bandai Namco, who is in charge now for the IP, they have to make changes the way they seem fit. They are going to make changes the way they see fit. If they want to keep pumping more games in the future, like Little Nightmares 4, 5, 6, 7, like how Resident Evil is doing, they can easily just move on to a different character, different setting, different plot. They don't even have to touch 6 and Mono ever again, and we will never be able to get those major answers like who is the eye and what's not, and that'll be something that'll be debated for years to come by the internet and fans. However, if they do want to tie up this side of the story, like with 6 and Mono, and later start a new one from Little Nightmares 4, then what they can do is have a new character within the same universe where 6 and Mono exists, and that character can end this time loop. A character with a significantly higher power than both 6 and Mono, probably one from the comics, because they have this unexplained origins for all these characters. How do they end up in this situation? How do they get powers? If Mono's destiny is Thin Man, 6's destiny is Lady Geisha, even though completely different situations. These two can't break the cycle. It has to be someone from the outside who isn't completely connected to this, because Ma is 6. Signal Tower is the Thin Man, and Mono having a significant powers from an outside can break this cycle. The eyes that you see are behind it all. They are in the maw, the nest, and now the Signal Tower. In the nest, eyes were barely exposed, hidden significantly. In the maw, they slowly started to reveal themselves, and in Little Nightmares 2, they properly invited and embraced you inside their flesh. There is a telling here. There's an opening here, and will someone use that opening to end it all? Will we finally get that happy ending? That is where I'm gonna leave this video, so make sure to let me know your theories and thoughts down in those comments below, and also start pumping out your theories, those ideas that might seem interesting. I might make a video on that as well, and also follow me on Twitter and Insta there it's SmackNPie. Also subscribe right now, help me get to 75k, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and peace.